Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church in Columbia, South Carolina, where we're part of the ELCA. I'm Pastor Gary Holt. Some of you may know that to be a pastor in the ELCA, you are required, as part of your seminary training, to complete a year of internship in a parish. I was assigned to a two-church parish in western Nebraska. Part of the whole experience is to place you in a culture and situation different from anything you had experienced before. And there's one thing you can say about Nebraska. That was it. We've got to see real rodeos and experience rural Western life. However, more than anything, we discovered was that those people who had lives so different from what we knew before were warm, genuine, loving, and beloved children of God. One of the things that has stuck with me was dinner at the Frells' house. The Frells were a farming and ranching couple, and they lived a few miles south of town. It was not unusual for them to invite us over to their house for Sunday dinner after church, and they went to much effort to make us feel at home. We sat around a large table filled with delicious food, but before we ate our first meal there, Barb, our hostess, brought us a Sharpie magic marker. "Before we eat," she said, "I need you to sign our tablecloth." We looked, and sure enough, everyone who had eaten at her table had signed their names, and then later Barb went back and embroidered each signature. It was an enduring witness to warmth and hospitality and friendship. This week we are looking at a central theme of the Bible, and one that most of us aren't very familiar with. Most of us also aren't familiar with how truly important it was in Bible times and how important God seems to think it was. The idea of hospitality comes up over and over in God's guidance for how we should live together. Now, I don't quote myself often, or at least try not to, but yesterday I mentioned that our current political situation and climate seem not to reflect God's desire for us. I said, we are in the process of sending people away instead of welcoming them. And for many of us, it seems so foreign to how we are told to be and what we are told to do in the Bible. Instead of seeing someone in need and responding, we are simply focused on ourselves instead. No matter what you may think of Stephen Colbert, his statement from several years ago rings true here. He said, "If this is going to be a Christian nation that doesn't help the poor, either we have to pretend that Jesus was just as selfish as we are, or we've got to acknowledge that he commanded us to love the poor and serve the needy without condition, and then admit that we just don't want to do it." This is a difficult, radical challenge of hospitality to us. Colbert has good foundation for what he says. In Leviticus 19, as the people are entering the promised land and establishing the nation, their values, and what was important, we find verses 33 and 34. "When an alien resides with you in your land, you shall not oppress the alien. The alien who resides with you shall be to you as a native born among you. You shall love the alien as yourself, for you were aliens in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God." Israel is told to remember their past as foreigners and treat others with justice and love. And as a nation of foreigners and immigrants ourselves, this call comes also to us. In many ways, we seem to have forgotten it. Again, in Deuteronomy 10, we find God's word to us. For the Lord your God is God of gods and Lord of lords, the great God, mighty and awesome, who is not partial and takes no bribe, who executes justice for the orphan and the widow, who loves the strangers, providing them food and clothing. You shall also love the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Let me re-emphasize that I have no intention of debating political policy or choosing one political party over another here. Rather, I'm pointing out God's invitation to a radical hospitality. Some of us may not like it. Or to paraphrase what Colbert said, we've either got to ignore God's word or admit that we just don't want to do it. It's important to note that God links their giving of hospitality to Israel's own story. There was a time when they needed to receive hospitality. They were a nation of strangers in a strange land. Now, God says, is the time to give hospitality to other strangers in your midst. Again, as a nation of immigrants, perhaps we need to consider these words. God's character is one of love for all people, and that's expressed in this radical hospitality. The author of 1 John reminds us that we love because God first loved us. We are all in need of the hospitality of God's love and grace, and having received it, we are called to live it. I'll bet when we get to heaven and sit down at the lavish banquet table God has prepared for us, someone is going to rush up to us with a Sharpie to sign the tablecloth. It will be an enduring witness to God's warmth and hospitality and friendship forever. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.